been out of prison now for how long? How long has it been since you were serving time?
It's been about 12 years now. As a matter of fact, I'll be coming up on my anniversary here in June.
Good for you. Good for you. 12 years got to be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And how did you get the nickname Stoutsy?
It's just part of my name, and it's just what people have been calling me my whole life.
All right, Stoutsy. So I like the name personally. I got a nickname Scooch, and it's basically because of my government last name. I call it, but I kind of got
Yeah,
similar thing with you. But hey, I want to welcome my
cool.
new friend right here from TikTok. That's right, and you know him on TikTok by Bars to Stars, and this guy is well known. He's always got an opinion, and I haven't sat next to him yet. God hasn't let us get that journey, but I know he's a big dude. I can just tell he's a big dude. He's done 12 years. We just, you kind of heard that in the intro. And I'm so honored to have you on my podcast because I am a former correction officer. I get attracted when I see somebody on social media that's out there saying, I was here and now I'm here. And I like the real talk. And so I was like really instantaneously, I started following you about a year to 2 years ago, actually. And man, it's a real honor to have you on today.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Honestly, it's been, I think, a year since you originally, got with me and, wanted me to join and everything. And we're just now getting to it. And I appreciate it. I'm a fan of the show and I appreciate all the positive vibes you guys got going on here.
Love it, man. Thank you. So we got the hugging and all that out of the way, all the back
Oh,
slapping, the leather smack,
right,
all
right,
that
right.
stuff. What part of the country are you from, man?
I'm from South Central Pennsylvania, South
Okay, yeah,
Central.
okay. All right, South Central is when you're in Pennsylvania, that really makes it feel real gangster when you add in South Central.
Yeah,
Like when you
right,
throw,
right.
you're like, I'm down with the whatever. I don't want to call you down anyway, but it sounds real dangerous there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what,
I
what, what,
live in the middle of Amish country, actually. So if it's
oh,
anything, I'm down with the Mennonites, I guess.
is there stories that we can get into with them dudes, Stouty?
I guess there are someday, someday.
All right, all right, all right. The statute of limitations doesn't go away with. Of course, it can't go away. They're like still in the same time that they were originally using the same
Yeah,
clothes,
right,
so they're like in 1400s or something. But anyways, listen, it's a real honor to get to know people's story, and one
right.
of the greatest things about technology, right? And you get this too, having served 12 years and I did my 21 years in prison, and the thing is, there's so much more to people than just an inmate number or doing a small bid or a long bid because
Hmm.
those things that we might have done and put us in those positions, that's in the past. And so I'm a real forgiving God's kind of, not kind. He came into my life and said, man, just talk to people. So the interesting part about you is you kind of take stories or you take situations and you break them down and you talk about them from your perspective, but you also give a perspective of like the counter side. You talk just not like as a former guy that might have been in prison, but you're also talking about a guy that's like on the street, not wanting to go back to prison. So
Hmm.
let's talk a little bit about the crimes that got you there, if you don't mind. It's just a real small part, just to get it out of the way. So if there's any curiosity, just say
Right.
it so we can move on to you. And that's really where I would like to go. Talk a little bit about that beginning, maybe not so
Well,
good
I
story.
mean, I was 18 years old at the time, and I was on basically a year long crime spree with two of my friends, and we had altogether. I was convicted of over 220 felonies. I was six armed robberies, over 80 stolen cars, and conspiracies to go with all that. So that's all felonies. So my sentence was 13 and a half to 35 years in state prison, and I served a total of all but 14 years, 13 years, 8 months, and 2 weeks, if, to be exact. But that's really pretty much what led me to prison. And, I was 18 years old, and, I thought I was a punk. I mean, I thought I was a badass out here in
Hmm.
my small little town or whatever.
Hmm.
But you know what I mean? When you go there, you get humbled real quick. And you know what? I had to, face things at that age that traumatized me as far as just a flip, like a complete shock to me, and that's traumatizing to somebody.
Hmm.
And but it's what needed to happen for me to get where I am. I really do look back. I think you kind of touched on that a minute ago. Is you were saying about people's past or whatever, and that's behind them or whatever. But that's what makes us, I believe. So I needed to go through that in order to get where I am. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I live a glamorous life or anything like that. I just, I keep it real. I'm very happy right now. Like I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at. Very lucky in this life. I feel lucky. If that makes, spent
No, it
14
does.
years in prison, half my adult life in prison, and I feel lucky. You know.
I can hear it in I can hear it in your voice. I can hear you appreciate life, I didn't know that you were the inspiration for Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage. 80 cars. How many cars would you? Did you get the Mustang? Did you go and get her? I mean, what? How many?
I did. We did actually steal a Mustang. It was just like in the movie and all.
Come
It
on,
was,
did you really?
yeah, it had
Wow.
like this. I'm not like even really a super big car buff or anything, but it had some Boss Cobra engine in it or whatever. My buddy's like, "Oh my god, the engine's worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever,"
Okay.
and we stole it and wrecked it like a block down the street.
Oh man.
So,
Why did you choose? Was cars like the thing? Was the automobile? That was your thing.
well, no, actually, we used cars to do other things. So we didn't. If we had to abandon the car or whatever, it wasn't our vehicle.
Yeah.
So we would steal cars and go do burglaries and break into
Oh, okay.
places or, you know,
It's like
whatever.
you're going on the checkoff sheet of felon. What you got to be good at. So you need to be able to steal a car, be able to get a gun from the from the
And
ground.
yeah, I do not promoting, I do not
You
promote
don't. I'm saying
anything
back
that
then.
I
I'm saying back
did.
then. It's all right. It's all gone,
Definitely do
man.
not.
Yeah. That's
If
not
you're
you.
going to be a
It's not you.
criminal, don't follow my script.
Nope. It's not you. And I don't want to. I don't want to beat a dead horse because it's dead to me. I think I just say thank you for sharing that part of your life. I'm sure there's a lot of stories. A lot of times on here, I come on and talk to therapists and people about their own struggles. PTSD is real, not even just for military, but a form of it. I'm actually working on a project with one of the members of Wu Tang, and we're going to be doing a thing on post incarceration PTSD, and it's real. Like, I mean, you've been out of prison 12 years, but I guarantee you, just like me, and I did it as a CO, I know how I am. My head's always on a swivel, right? It's always that
Hmm.
conditioning. As
Right.
someone that was on the street, then went to prison, got back out, and get your life back together. What was it like when you first got out of prison, even before you started doing the bars to stars, but just that mental like, wow, I can breathe and it's out here free.
Well, money has never meant much to me. I've always been about experiences, and it's all about just my freedom is so valuable to me now that it doesn't matter what a job pays me or whatever. When I was working, like a regular 9 to 5 and stuff, it didn't matter what they paid me. It was how much free time that I had. What was I allowing myself to do, and was it worth sacrificing, my freedom to do that, and it just makes my freedom way more valuable. I enjoy being able to just get up and walk out the door whenever I want. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. It's raining out, not raining, doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want, and it's that is what matters, the most. And you lose sight of that. Like if you haven't been there, you don't realize what it's like to just not be able to do anything, just not like be able to do anything. So
I think that's a amazingly personal, bless you, man, personal explanation. And everyone's going to have their own, but I think just freedom and people that have a different opinion. You don't really know what freedom is until it's taken from you, and you're
mhm.
controlled by what you eat when you go to bed and everything else, and all those conditions. And we'll get into some stories about the prison, but I'm just interested. I'd like to walk through this. So you're getting out of prison after out of this crazy life,
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, and in prison actually to kind of just memory wise, when you had gotten out, did you have things happen? You said, "Man, I'm never going to come back here." And did you remember that when you first got out, like certain things that took place in prison?
I absolutely did. But I remember driving down the road as we were leaving. My parents picked me up that day, and I'm passing my workshop when I worked there and this and that, and I'm telling my dad, "Oh, that's I work there and it's whatever." And then I got to the end of the road and we're turning off of the property, and it's like none of that even matters now. I had $140 to my name is all I had. That's all I had managed to save up. And my parents bought me my first cell phone, and that's all they really like gave me. Yes, I stayed in their house when I got out and things like that, but I had to claw, I had to fight to get out. Um, you know, just like anybody else, and it wasn't easy. I was so scared when I first got out. I was so paranoid. Just I don't know, man. Looking back, like it was crazy. I was very paranoid when I first got out.
I bet. I mean, that's a big change from the the guards over your shoulder, the time, hearing the gates shut and all that, whatever the like on the chow, on the count, all these things that take place in those situations. So you come home, you got 140 bucks, and was it like at some point did you say, man, I'm gonna have to just go back to what I do because I know how to make money quick, or how'd you say focus on not going back in the beginning?
Well, it wasn't an option. There was no other option. To me, there was only one focus, and that was I want to do whatever it takes to make good with my parole officer and to do whatever needs for me to not go back. It doesn't matter. It's written in black and white of what I can and can't do. And as long as I do and don't do that, then I can stay out of prison. And you know what? I worked and I had a job. It wasn't, I mean, it was a really crappy job, making minimum wage. And that's where I started, and that's what I needed. I just stayed focused. There was no other option. There was no going back to a life of crime. Like what the hell is that? I mean, like what? Like it would just make no sense to me. There's nothing there for me.
Although
You
we
know.
do know a lot of people go back and that recidivism and that thing is unfortunate. And I'd like to get into that like theory of why that is maybe down the road as we get to know each
Hmm.
other better. But just kind of staying on the story because I'm in the moment right now. I'm driving down this
Right.
dirt road where we're in the gangster version of Pennsylvania, wherever you're from, I guess, and you're coming down a big dirt
Yeah.
road. And I got to assume there's some cows, maybe, and pigs or something. But anyways, you're coming home now. The first 24, 48 hours, you're not hearing anything. No clinking of the gates, no yelling from the guards, nobody on the chow on the wreck, arguments at the Domino's table. What was it like? Did you actually not fall asleep for the first few days? Because I know I hear that from a lot of guys.
Yep. Absolutely. I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep hardly a wink for days. I remember the first night I played Fruit Ninja on my phone, like for like 6 hours straight because I was sleeping on a futon in the spare room at my parents' house, and you know, I was comfortable, but I wasn't. It was really weird. Like I felt like I'm wearing this nice soft bed to me, and but I couldn't get comfortable, and I was allowed to leave my house, and this is what I was saying about how paranoid I was. Like I said on my parole paperwork or whatever, that I was allowed to leave at 6 in the morning till like my curfew was like 8 or 9 or whatever at night. But I remember standing at the screen door waiting till 6 o'clock hit so that I could walk out and leave because like I was so paranoid that my PO, who I didn't even haven't even met at this point, he could be sitting in a car across the street or something, and just like so I waited exactly till 6 o'clock in the morning and then left and walked over town, and then I'm like, paranoid. Like I said, I'm still kind of like that. I still am. I like when I enter a room, I really like look at everybody's face, and I, so yeah. But yeah, that's what it was like. And no, I didn't sleep hardly at all.
I can imagine. After that many years, and then so you got no. Not only do you have the obstacles of not having money and the resources, starting over with nothing. You get a cell phone. What are you thinking? Like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to get out of my mom and dad's, off the futon, right? So, what was your
Hmm.
plan at that point for you to, go and
Um,
execute?
it was really scary when I lost that job. At least when I had that first job, I was only making $8 an hour and working in a place that made metal pails, like metal buckets, and it, super hot, middle of summer. I mean, and it was bust butt work, and uh, I just couldn't. I did it. I mean, for 3 months. But when my time was up, they fired me after my probation was up or whatever, and they let me go. So then it was scary because now I'm out. At least I had a connection there. My brother-in-law got me that job for when I got out of prison, and but now I don't have any connection anywhere, and I don't really know. Now I'm really on my own, just like, now I'm really on my own looking for jobs. And my parents decided to help me out. We had they had a small business idea, and I had a little bit of business background, like from prison. I took business classes and stuff. They have owned multiple businesses in their life, so I went and opened up this little coffee bar, or whatever that they had, and that's what I did for a little while. But then my mom got hurt at work, and we needed more income in the house, so I turned the bar over to her, and I went out and got another real job, which was working in a foundry for, like I did dirty foundry every day, just like a normal job.
Pennsylvania. That's Tom Cruise and All the Right Moves kind of style. You're talking that kind of right there, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, you know what? The thing is that I don't see in you is someone that's willing to give up. And I think we'll get into that towards the end, because hearing more of your story will really convince the listeners. And folks, now you get a chance to really hear from a real story, bars to stars. And this is a story where a gentleman, has some troubles early on in life, who doesn't, and finds his way through the system, and who hasn't gets an opportunity. But a lot of people don't take advantage. Just even the business. I will get into that later on with you, but I think every guy that I know that has any success in criminal activity, success doesn't mean you're a good criminal, but successful criminals make really amazing business people, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's true
they do.
story. It's a true story. Because you're running a business. You're just not doing the paperwork with the feds. That's the only difference from everything
Right.
at the end
It's
of the
just
day.
a different kind of business, right?
Right. So it's pretty cool like that. And so you there's a plot behind this, and and I know you're in this situation of transition, and a lot of people I know that I've spoken to, that's when you're really like that. That's when I will get a little spiritual, in the sense that the devil starts saying, "There's a car, there's an easy way. Why are you working so hard? That factory stinks. Stop. You can go back to this." And that little, like the little bad Martian or whatever, like from Kazoo or whatever
Yeah.
in Flintstones. Were you hearing that? Were you fighting that battle in the beginning for a while?
Uh, I really wasn't. I really wasn't. I had gotten rid of that criminal kind of mentality a long time ago. I mean, like, I'd noticed things. I guess you could say, in a sense, like that. Like, I would notice things like people leaving valuable things outside of their house and stuff like that. Like, man, someone could easily walk away with that. But I never like thought about actually, doing it myself. And someone asked me that not too long ago. A friend of mine, a former felon, that comes by, a friend of mine, and he asked me, "Would you, if I would ever do something like that again? Like steal a car or whatever?" And I said, I really don't envision it. I mean, I'm the type that'll do whatever it takes to survive, but you know, zombie apocalypse, maybe. I mean, but
Yeah, there you got you. I got you.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you? Have you always been kind of a guy in your life, and the people around you look to you kind of for leadership? Have you been somebody that people follow, or have you been a lone wolf, or what's your? It seems like you're a guy that people are going to listen to. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Not always. They do now. I feel like I'm more of a leader than a follower now. But my whole life, well, not my whole life, but when I was a kid, and until I went to prison and grew up in prison, I was very much a follower, very much a follower. And I sought attention from everybody else, and
Mhm.
it's really weird because I have a few followers on TikTok and stuff, and people know me a little bit now, but I don't really seek that. I don't need fame. You know what I mean? I'll take the
Mhm.
fortune, just the fame, whatever.
Gotcha. Well, so
So
you are working hard, and let's get into it, because this is really the kind of cool part about your story. And this is the Prayed Up Network. Me being a CEO, I found God in my life, and God kind of took those things, and me wanting to be on big stages and chasing gold and all that stuff. It took me, actually. I want to share this with you without getting too detailed, but I talk
Mhm.
publicly about it. I lost everything, man. I went from a state representative after retirement into the state house. So I went from the Gold Dome State House in Connecticut to 33 cents and homeless. So, brother, it doesn't just happen to you; it can happen to anybody. And I want that's the humbleness that God provides us. So I just wanted to say that you're no different than me. Is maybe I didn't take a car, but I was taking other things. And so I didn't serve maybe a 12, 12 whatever year sentence like you did, but I served some time, and the time was not easy. At the end of the day, though, we find our way out of it, and that's the story I want to talk about, man. It's like the smile you put on people's faces, and quite honestly, sometimes I probably upset some people because you're a straight talker. Talk about how you got into social media, especially being away so long. It's got to be like coming on a Martian ship, technology compared to where you left, and when you come
Oh
home,
yeah, oh yeah.
where did you find? How'd
That
you
was
find yourself to
crazy.
TikTok? How'd you find yourself to TikTok?
Well, at the time I was married, and my ex-wife said one day, I saw TikTok, and I was like, I saw someone on TikTok teaching math. And one of the things that I did when I was away was I was the teacher's aide in a GED math class. So I was teaching inmates to get math to get their GED, and I was like a very like rewarding thing for me. I enjoyed doing that, and I was like, I could do this. I could teach math. I was like, this guy's teaching it wrong anyway, and so I started making videos about teaching math. My original name on TikTok, my original name on there was Practical Math, and I would teach math. But I didn't have any followers, and I wanted followers to. I needed followers to go live so that I could teach math properly. And my wife one day she's just like, well, you should just tell your prison stories. People on TikTok love that stuff, and you'll get followers, you'll be able to teach math, and you can help a lot of people with your stories. So I just started. I just look back and I feel that I'm a lame storyteller, anyways. But I look back at the original videos. I just started talking about it. I just one day I was like, oh, I served this much time, and started talking about it, and people asked me about it, and it just grew into certain things. I just tell stories every now and then, but I really liked. That's how I got on TikTok, and I really liked the interaction from most people. There, of course, when you start talking about negative things, I talk about, bad things that I've done, you're going to have people, that say, oh, you were this and you were that. And they're not wrong. I was that.
Yeah, but you're not that now, and that's the key. And that's the one thing that I
About the
think is
react.
really key to this whole story is that you're not that guy anymore. And so sometimes that's the difficult part for people to realize, right? So I'm going to be back in a minute. We're going to take a break right here. Our friend Bars to Stars right here telling us a story about how he found his way to the world of TikTok. And the interesting part about that, as we talk to it more and get that story, the Bars to Stars concept was something that started with math you just talked about. And so it's kind of interesting because, like, I don't think there's a lot of dudes that I've talked to that told me they started a informational platform as a former incarcerated guy. Usually it's very, sort of tell the stories, but you were actually doing it to help people. And that's a pretty cool story to start.
Yeah. Okay. So then I started making prison TikToks because that's what people wanted to hear. And so I grew my following that way. And I really liked that, I was able to help people. Um, but I didn't like talking so much about prison because I don't like glorifying prison, and I don't like making it seem like it's a cool place to be, because I can tell stories that where it was, and it'll make it sound like it was fun about how we were cooking this and drinking this and doing whatever, and it'll sound like it was fun, and but dude, it's prison, man. It's prison, period.
Right,
So
right,
I don't like
right.
glorifying it. And also, there's only certain things you can talk about on TikTok and stuff too. So
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So it sounds like you started this one thing and then it kind of morphed into being comfortable in your skin and your performance in a sense of bars to stars. Who came up with the name Bars to Stars, and at what point did you come up with that concept? Because it's a little different than the beginning.
yeah, because my name was Practical Math, and when I was able to go live, I started going live on TikTok teaching math, and I'd teach math for an hour or whatever, and then I would stay on and hang out with whoever's left and just talk. And we would talk about prison or whatever. And people would come on and say, "Oh man, you're inspiring and all this and everything." And I was grateful for that or whatever. But I got this little group of people that were there, and one of them said, "Hey, you should change your name." And so like we had like this little meeting, I made like a little live event out of it or whatever, and we brainstormed ideas. And it was a buddy of mine. His name's DJ. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. A TikTok follower of mine, a guy I got to know personally. He's the one that came up with it during that live. But yeah, he's a good guy. Still one of my followers, and he's doing good.
That's awesome, Stotzy. So the story is really organic in a way that you didn't come out with this plan. Hey, I'm going to get into TikToking and a lot. Regardless of whatever money, and you don't have to talk about it. But the bottom line is you're helping people, and I'm feeling like that's the energy you want out of that project, right? Like it's how you engage and interact, and that because you know what, you actually took something on a platform that people think is corrupt and not, they want to take it away, kind of thing. And think about it, you probably have helped people save their lives, and maybe in many ways it helps save your life in some ways. Would that be true?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Back and forth. I know I have people that have told me, I've helped change their life. You saved my life. I was going to commit suicide that night or whatever, and they've told me that. But you're right. On the other hand, it is because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my followers. That's when people say, "Oh, thank my followers, thank you guys," or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
they're the reason that I'm here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't, I just went with what I knew and what people asked for. If they asked for something and I knew a little bit about it and I could chime in on it, okay. And if we
Yep.
disagree, we're allowed to disagree, and I guess really what you're saying about my engagement with them is I'm just me, and you can either accept me for who I am, and we can either agree or not, and that's okay. We're allowed to
Mhm.
disagree.
100%. So, Stotzy, one thing I wanted, and I knew the curiosity factor, and I try to really do interviews in a way that people that are listening are asking questions through me in a sense. And you said you got divorced, but when you got home from prison, you wasn't married. You got married after you got home from prison, so it was a
Yeah,
short time.
yeah.
Okay, we don't have
When
to
I
get too
got
many details. I just want to know I'm writing down notes. I want to make sure I'm sticking on the story here. So.
Yeah, no, it's fine. When I got home from prison, I was you know trying to catch up with the ladies, I guess you could say. And I was messing with, whoever I wanted to mess with or whatever. And long story short, one of them stuck around, and um, about a year and a half later or whatever, we got married, and that was 10 years ago or 11 years ago. We were married for 9 years, and I've been divorced for 2 years now.
Okay. Okay.
But it's because I was able to do that, though. It
Mhm.
didn't. She and our relationship didn't work out,
Mhm.
but from then I was able to move on. I just now all I do, I get to play poker with my poker club, man. That's all I'm about, man. I get to do things in my life, and I can be grateful for it because of that past, because of the places that I've been. We talk about it in our poker club, that about spreading seeds, and we just need some of them to grow. Not all of them are going to grow, but
Mhm.
you just need some of them to grow, and you know that's how you help people, and especially when it comes to hold on. I'm getting sidetracked.
No, you're good, brother. No, this is the beauty of a podcast. This is I try to explain to somebody, this is not a news, this is not 2020, 48 hours. Like we do this and we're just casual getting to know each other thing. And I think people like that part about it, Satsi. So just keep on being you, man. You're
Yeah,
you're doing a great job.
my phone went off and it distracted me in the middle of talking.
No, no, believe me, I got adult ADD. I got all kinds of things, so I get distracted like a dog. Right? Sometime when I'm interviewing people, you see me go like this. I can't even help it. But um, I like your temperament. You seem real calm and cool, and like just like almost like your blood pressure doesn't go up too much. So I think that's a credit to however you control yourself. Are you doing anything else? Are you like working in any other job? Like what are you doing now to keep busy?
Yeah,
Uh,
we
you know,
I'm the chief marketing officer for Lucky Stars Entertainment, man. We're an online poker club, amongst other things. We do card
mhm,
breaks and stuff like that. But we're a legit business. It's a great thing I got to do, and that all led to it because I was telling my prison stories, and I was talking about one of the things that I did in prison was play poker, and I was like talking about these poker games we played or whatever, and they got a hold of me. And at back then they were nothing. They were a super small club, and now we're the largest private club on the app, and it's they're doing great. We're doing great. I get to, like I said, when it comes to my life, I get to play poker with my buddies, and fly out to Vegas 3 4 times a year if I want to, and go to the World Series of Poker. It's great, and it's all because of those things that we talked about to get me here. You know what I mean? It sucks. I had to spend
what a great
13 years
story
in
though, man.
prison. You know?
That's a great story to tell, man. That you found your way into this thing. It's you're paying the bills with something you love. You got to smile. You're
Right.
not in the factory. And listen, I'm not
Yeah.
disrespecting the factory because the factory is all due respect to the blue collar man.
Hey.
We need more. We need more of them. But not the blue collar ones that are coming here. We're unfortunately this lazy country. I'm talking about a lot of the white people. I'm being honest, straight up. They let all these people come into the country and work these hard jobs. That's where we're losing a lot of values. But that's a whole nother story for another time. Listen, the whole concept of getting out of prison is to not go back, and you've convinced me that you're on track not to go back. Like you're not looking back to that world, and you're never gonna. Like you said, there's no choice. Your only choice was to succeed, and you've been doing an amazing job. I just want to tell you, if I have been told by many,
Well,
and
thank
I'm
you.
proud of you. I'm proud of you for getting yourself where you are, and so you should be proud of yourself too. I think you know that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
No, it's big. It's big, and the world's a crazy place, and like even us finding each other on technology, COVID lockdown. That's probably when I first started seeing you was during COVID because not only did I become the worst alcoholic and quit drinking, I also found God during COVID. And I guess I want to, is there any spiritual sense behind you? And I don't want to, we are in the Prayed Up Network and I don't push prayer or religion. I love everybody. Jesus gives me that in my heart. But is there anything in your heart with that when it comes to, with God or spirits?
Yeah, absolutely. They, Anybody can believe whatever they want to believe, but there is a higher power than us. Like, period. You can call it whatever you want to call it, and whatever path you take to get there, that's fine. You know, so but you have to acknowledge that there is that, and once you, I don't know, I just look at it like there is. Look at what is here. Look at this earth. It is amazing. Everything is amazing. Like, it's so hard. Like, we can't fathom how amazing it really is. And there's only one being that could have created that and done that, and or one thing, one
Mhm,
energy, or one, you know
mhm.
whatever, coffee cup. It doesn't matter. There was only one thing that did it, and it created something amazing.
Are you careful to get too into religion just because you like to stay kind of out of that? You just like to stay in your lane, believing but not forcing, not pushing, right? Kind of just stay in your lane of comfortable, respectful belief without having it imposed on anybody.
No, no, not really. No, it's just, I really believe that. I really do believe, like, I don't believe that any religion or belief system is really necessarily the wrong one. There's things about certain religions that, I'm not super versed on religions, but um, there's certain things about certain religions that I might not agree with,
Right.
but if that brings you closer to the same being, to me it's all the same being anyway. So if it brings you closer to the same being, and it's not directly opposed and say, oh, like, it's okay to do this and it's not okay to do this. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's
100%.
okay
Yeah,
to
no,
touch kids or something, as long as it's not saying that, then, we're okay. I believe we're all getting there.
do you
We're
think
finding our own way.
do you think in your time, not just serving, but also just, I'm going to assume I'm 55. How you got to be what 40s? How old are you? Are you
44.
40s, 44? So between that age, and I know that a lot of the political system stuff that we used to, I got into when I got out of my job was a elected officer, but until up to that point, I didn't pay attention to politics at all. Now this whole world is like it's like the WWE of our world is now politics. That's where it plays out in the arenas of Washington D.C. and these debate floors. What's your take on politics and the effect, maybe even on from your perspective, where you came through a system that is very much influenced by politics?
Right.
What's up with politics in your opinion in our country?
I think that the system is broken, um, corrupt to a degree, but either way, it's broken. And I think that most politicians are there for not to speak for the people and not represent the people. They're there to represent what benefits themselves most. And so you can take it however you want to take it. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in any single political party
Hmm.
per se.
Hmm.
Or, I think that people do, you know, people do certain things, and hopefully they don't cover them up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But we see it's coming out, and it's you can't hide it.
What would be something you would normally be okay with? And I don't want to say this in the wrong way because I'm going to give you a lot of credit. You got a skill. You're a guy that can have a strong conversation without having an argument, and that's a skill. That's a fact. And you probably learned
Thank
a
you.
lot of that's a skill we know in prison is a survival skill, right? Like you got to go from each click. You got to go from each get. And I didn't even get into your past. Maybe the next time we get more comfortable, I want to hear some gang banging stories, if there's any, or just your engagement. We'll get to that another time. I just want to learn about you, but like having that ability gives you a strength in the world now because a lot of people you'll hear this comment, right? It's a microcosm of society. I think society is a microcosm of the prison system. And why I say that is the rap game industry, the music industry influenced the streets and the prison system, and the prison system became part of the streets. Clothing was done. You remember cats would be putting on their browns, their tans, and trying to look like they just, so that being said, I think there's a lot of people that never really got into politics before that now have this political opinion, and I think they're starting to realize personally that even in prison, they told you didn't have a say, but you do. George Floyd, that incident took place. Can I get your mindset when that took place, like where you were in your mindset of what was going on in the country? And you have an opinion, I'm sure, on that. And where were you during George Floyd mentally?
Great. Here's a perfect example of how I'm not going to cause an argument. Uh, let's see. Let me think. What happened with him was unfortunate. I don't know. I don't know because that it happens so much. It's
Let me help
happening
him
so
because
much.
I set you up, man. I help you up because I set you up, and it's not a setup because George Floyd's uncle comes on my show. He's a friend of mine. George Floyd's uncle. His
Right.
name is Selma.
I watched that interview.
Oh, cool, cool. And you know what? You could see him kind of going off in his place and everything. And I'm like, you know what? That's cool and everything, but I don't agree with you. And that's the way we got to have the, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
but no one can argue George Floyd. I don't care who you are. You don't need to be a blind man with, in the morgue. You know this man was no matter when an officer puts his hands on you or someone detains you, no matter if you have a medical condition, you're there under my custody. I said that from day one. The crime that was committed under the care and custody of the arresting officer, he went and he was negligent in his duties at the bare minimum. There is a way that you can look at it from that. Now, the aggression and all the things, and then the backdrop story. But then you get into the front end, and a lot of the people on my conservative side of my former me, right? I used to be a real Republican. Now I'm just a libertarian guy that loves everybody. But the real Republicans are like, let's go right into it. He's a bad guy. And he wasn't a good guy on the streets. He had a bad reputation, but no one deserves to die. The backlash to you. What did you think when you turned on the TV and you see places getting burned down and people stopping traffic on highways? You got any opinions on that?
I think it's terrible, and I don't think it should have been done. I don't think it needed to be done. Um, and to me, the people that were looting and stopping traffic and assaulting people were breaking the law. And but they have their opinion as well, but they don't. There's ways. To me, my opinion is that was not the way to go about expressing your feelings. And there's ways to do it, and it might not be instant. You might have to fight the fight. It might have to be a while, but
Right.
you know that's not the solution.
It made for a great. It made for something that was like almost like it came to a head, right? You get that pimple, and then all of a sudden it comes, and it gets ready to burst. And in our society, we know our world in America has been just on the edge. I want to move on from this and get into some other positive, because the energy that I get from you is always upbeat, right? It's an upbeat feeling. I actually got to tell you though, when I first saw you when I was scrolling, I thought you were like a retired Navy vet. It was going to talk about dog food or something. I didn't know what because I was like, "What's this dude going to talk about?" And then all of a
Right.
sudden, you started getting into these things, and I'm like, "Oh!" And then I got the hook, of course, that you former incarcerated and what you're doing. Um, what's your family's reaction? What's the people in your life that they see you having this not only extracurricular activity that it has turned into an opportunity, you got a career out of it. What's their opinion of it now? What are they saying?
First of all, thank you for asking about my family. My family, I don't have any kids myself. I have a sibling, a sister that's younger than me, and my parents. And my sister has 5 kids now. But my parents are proud of me. They tell me often. They let me know in other ways. Like my parents are proud of me. They'll love me regardless, but they want to love me, which I feel is different as well. But yeah, oh yeah, they're definitely proud of me, and their reaction to my TikToks now, that they just they support the hell out of me. They'll laugh at anything I post. It doesn't matter. Like, just because it's me, like when I make a stupid video about whatever, and it's me being me. I'm just being stupid because that's just kind of how I am. My videos used to be all dead serious and me all, oh yeah,
Yeah.
in 1976 or 1998 or whatever when I was
I've
arrested.
seen that in your videos. I've seen you
No,
posture before, like kind of tight, and then when I see you
yeah,
kind of like just free, like you're on the microphone, you're just kind of free, and you're just kind of throwing a little bit of lyrics out there, and you're better at that because that's the real you. And I got to agree with your parents. I want to tell you, just as somebody who is just an observer, somebody that just met you, I am proud of you, man. You made a choice, and not a lot of people can make the choice you made, man. It's really something you should be proud of. So, big shout out to you. And you know what? Um, I don't know about your kids thing, but you got 5 nieces and nephews, and you got a
yeah.
purpose. Like you're helping people right now, and I
Hmm.
think it's fair to say that's really what inspires you, kind of that knowing that you're helping people.
Um, Yeah, yeah. Not as much anymore, and that's just to be honest.
Tell me, what is that?
Recently,
Because it's a business? Is it kind of like more of a business now to you?
no, no, because I haven't really been posting or doing too much, anyways. When
Yeah.
it comes to TikTok, I haven't been making as no. To be honest, here it's the exact opposite. It's become more personal
Okay.
because I'm sharing more about my life now. So I'll be sharing, even if it's some random video that I repost or something, it's something that I thought was funny or whatever. But if
Mhm.
it's something to me when I'm on vacation or I'm exploring some uh, creek or going fishing or I'm hunting or whatever, that's me sharing my life. So therefore,
Mhm.
it's the exact opposite. It's become more personal to me, and that's why I share a lot about poker because that's what I do.
Mhm.
I represent a poker club, and my poker club allows me to do that. And
Awesome.
I'm fortunate to have that. You know, I'm fortunate to have everything that I have, but you know, some people don't have that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
some people got to grind, like we were talking about the foundry jobs, and
Hmm. Hmm.
the not. And I get it. I'm around it. I grew up in it. I was part of it. But I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. I got lucky stars with me.
You're not just lucky. You worked hard for it. You earned it. And stars to bars, of course. Stotzi is a real deal. You can tell that you put it out there, and I appreciate that. That's the kind of real talk that we love to have. Now, gambling is something I had an addiction. I had, darn it, man. I'm sober now. Sobriety, 15 months officially, over 2 years. I thought I could have a shot on my birthday on my 1 year mark, and I'm like, what an idiot, right? Like I spit it out actually, but 2 years really in the sober world. Found Christ. I don't gamble. You won't hear me swear too often, and I'm not saying this to like, hey, look at me. But do you find that the longer you're out, you have more controls of those kind of things that could be bad behaviors, like some people can't handle gambling. Some people can't handle drinking. I can't handle any of it. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I personally have to be careful going down this road as well, because I do drink. Obviously, I gamble, and I have a medical marijuana card, and so I smoke medical marijuana. But um, I got to be careful going down that road. You know what I mean? Because I know, like, here's where I'm at is that's enough. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting drunk once in a while, and that being it, or or smoking a little bit. I'm okay with that, and unfortunately, some people, a lot of people, can't, and that's, I mean, it's unfortunate for them if that it hurts them,
Hmm. Hmm.
in your example.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate if this is something, if that's something you want, but you can't have it,
Yeah.
and same goes with me though. I gotta be careful because I have an addictive history too as
Hmm.
well, so if I'm doing whatever, I gotta, I don't mess with nothing else. It's just, for me, that saying no to everything else is okay, because like I
Hmm.
said, I'm okay. This is cool. This is enough for me. You know what I
I
mean?
think it's great. I think it's great. I believe in cannabis products versus pharmaceutical grade products. I'm very public about that. I shared that story as a very staunch Republican. I was like, let's get into this world of non-pharmaceutical choices, and we know all the things that are killing our people. But I think there's also the choice of like control, and I have no desire, brother. I can go in a bar now. I mean, I go into bars all the time and sit down. That's really how I connect to people, is sitting down next to them in places like that. And I have the strength, but a lot of people don't. For example, gambling. Do you feel like gambling in your world, it's a business to you, right? So you're conscious of that, and you're not letting it become that. Are you also conscious of the players that you're marketing to? Because I ask that because it speaks of a good quality product if you're actually thinking about what could be a problem for your customers.
No, actually, and we do. We have had people that have joined our club and have came in, and they were just like heavy rate at it. They're putting a lot in, and they're donking it off and losing. But we got to we recognize that. That's the good thing about being in a private club, is that we recognize that and we monitor that. So we know if this guy's like really on tilt, like, man, you really need to pump your brakes right now. And if we can actually stop it, and that's a good thing, because in the long run, it does not benefit for somebody to come in and lose all their money. You know what I mean? We want people sitting there playing cards, and you're right. We want them sitting at a table playing poker. That's what makes us money. You know what I mean?
Do you play
So,
poker in
so
casinos? Like, have you guys come up to like Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods casinos? You ever come up this way?
no, I haven't. I've been to a couple casinos here around in Maryland and Pennsylvania and in Vegas. We actually have a meetup game in Vegas coming up during the World Series of Poker this year. A bunch of us managers are going to be out there, and we got rooms together, and we'll go out to a couple fancy dinners on the club, and
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, every now and then he might put one of us, sponsor us to be in a tournament or something,
Okay.
but it's really like a big deal for us. But yeah, I mean, to going back, I appreciate you asking that though, because we do take pride in that. We have actually done that to people, like pump the brakes on them. because we don't want that. We
Right.
don't we lose
Right.
in the long run, you
Right.
know.
Right. 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 How many members? Because it almost sounds like, and I'm just gonna throw it out here. A lot of people get labeled with gambling as degenerate, right? They get that degenerate stamp on. That's I'm just saying how the public is, and I do
Right.
know that it's also almost like it's almost like an AA group to some people. You know what I mean? Because they can have that
Mhm.
fellowship and conversation, and as
Yeah.
long as they don't lose control of it, I've seen it be damaging for some people, myself included. But I love people that have control, being able to control their fun. I think that's an awesome thing. So that's good. How many people in the group? Do you have a big number, or what do you think?
Uh, yeah, we have over 5,000 players right now. Over
Wow, that's
5,000,
crazy.
and we started out when I joined the club. There was a little over 200. Now we're over 5,000. That's been 2 years now, and we are the largest number one private club on the app that we play on. And let me tell you something about that camaraderie that you were saying about the AANA group.
Yeah.
I love my poker club. The
Mhm,
guys that I've been around, not only did they changed my life in multiple ways. Yes, they
mhm,
brought me along, and now I can make money through the poker club, which is great.
mhm.
But like like you said, it's a different type of camaraderie. It's like we chat in Discord all the time, and I would get in my Discord with my friends and just be talking to them. All just they were my friends. I wouldn't even be
Mhm.
playing poker. I'd be just talking to them, hanging out, and that is really what kept me from you don't know what it kept you from doing. Who
Yeah, no,
knows
no
what
doubt.
I could have got into that night or whatever. But oh yeah, I that camaraderie is never going to be broken. I feel like I've made lifelong friends through my poker
I
club.
love it. A lot of things coming in. Discernment and just things when you start to talk to people and you start to realize how great living is. In this life, and like you said, like man, you got it so good right now. You're happy, man, and I just hear happiness coming out of your voice. I want to say that I'm proud of you again. I'm going to kind of wrap it up here and kind of get towards the end, and I'd love to have you back on. And when we do panel discussions, I think you'd be a really interesting guy to come on some panels and just kind of give your opinion. Uh,
That'd be
you
fine.
are you're a great talker, man. I don't think you're comfortable with making an opinion because you don't want to upset people yet. But I think I see that you're a humble guy. You don't want to get into that, in
Yeah.
between thing, and I get that. That's cool.
I,
Leave
I,
it to
I
me. I'll do
well,
it.
I really no, but I really do believe what I say though, because
Mhm.
I really do believe that we're all allowed to have our own opinions. But then that's what allows me to accept others people's opinions as well. I believe, you know, because I let them have their opinion. We're allowed to disagree. And
Well, just that's where it comes down to, and we lost ourselves in this world. I think from my childhood into your childhood, just scraping our knees, running around and being normal kids. Technology has really damaged a lot of that for our younger generation. So you're an in between guy. You're like a liaison to the tech world, to the younger world, because you got both things in you. You're really good at both. And I just want to say thank you so much again for coming on, Stotzi. You can be found on TikTok, guys. Go right over to Bars to Stars. We're going to drop the link right here. Go and check him out. Follow him. Listen to his story. Send him a message. He responded to me, and it is amazing. I pinch myself. I've met so many people virtually that I can't. I know one day we're going to get a chance to handshake and probably hang out a little bit, have
that'd
a
be great.
coffee. It sounds like you're a barista. You were a barista at one point, so you'll be able to
At
make
one
some good
point,
coffee.
was drinking coffee.
But I love it, man, and I appreciate you coming on. So if you ever have anything we can share for you, just drop something to Mark. Let us know what we can do to help you. And thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you so much. Hang out in the back room. Once I shut this down, I'm gonna jump back on with you. Okay. There you go. What a great interview, guys. And this is the kind of thing that I love to do, which is just talk with straight up dudes, man, straight up people. We've had people that were incarcerated. At the time there were conversations with people that got out of prison. That I'm strongly affected by my life in the prison system. I'm dedicated to it. My motivational speaking that I'm going in and out of prisons at, and we've started to talk about the Be Better tour, which is going to be launching. This is exactly those relationships that you want to inspire and you want to foster, because these are the people that are representing that generation of people that need to get back into society and not feel like they're unwanted and not feel like they're not good enough, because they are. Right there. What a great story. Bars of Stars, go and check them out. Kevin Allen, make sure you stay connected with the Prayed Up Network, the Be Better tour. and all things Kevin Allen coming to you right here on this platform and more. And just have a beautiful day, man.